You're being controlled, not by chains or cages, but by words, attention, silence, and illusion. And the scariest part? You say yes without ever knowing why. Dark psychology isn't fiction. It's not sorcery. It's how real power works, quietly, subtly, invisibly. Every day, someone around you, a boss, a lover, a stranger, is using silent tools to bend your behavior. Tricks that bypass logic and speak straight to your instincts. You think you're making choices, but often the choice has already been made for you. Let's start with the first, mirroring. People don't trust those who are different. They trust those who reflect them. Manipulators know this. They mirror your voice, your gestures, your values. They copy your pain. They agree with your dreams. And slowly, you feel like you've found someone who gets you. But it's an illusion, a strategic reflection. The moment you feel emotionally mirrored, your defenses lower. Your brain says, this person is safe, and you start to open up. You listen more, you share more, you follow more. It's how cult leaders win loyalty in days, not years. It's why toxic partners feel like soulmates at first. Mirroring creates false intimacy. And once you're emotionally exposed, control becomes effortless. The second trick, manufactured scarcity. Want to make someone desperate? Make them believe they're running out of time. Scarcity triggers fear. When something feels limited, time, attention, options, our brain panics and clings. Manipulators exploit this by acting busy, pulling away, or pretending there's competition. The message is clear. If you don't act now, you'll lose me. It's how marketers sell garbage with countdown timers. It's how toxic people keep you chasing their love. They pull back just enough to make you panic, then offer crumbs of validation when you beg. This push-pull game destroys your sense of security. You start mistaking stress for passion and scarcity for value. The truth? Most of what we chase isn't rare. It's made to feel rare. That's how control works. Not through force, but through the illusion of loss. And here's the part no one wants to admit. We're all vulnerable to this, because our minds are wired for survival, not awareness. And unless you learn how these tricks work, you're not thinking freely, you're reacting. Guilt injection. Manipulators know one thing very well. Empathy is a weapon, when used against you. Ever felt like you were the bad guy, even when you didn't do anything wrong? That's guilt injection. It starts small. I guess I'll just go alone then. I thought you cared, but I guess I was wrong. It's okay. I'll suffer. You do what makes you happy. These lines aren't about communication. They're pressure disguised as pain. The goal is to make you feel responsible for someone else's emotions, even if you did nothing to cause them. Why? Because a guilty person is easier to control. Once you accept emotional debt, you start paying with obedience. You sacrifice your needs, your time, your peace, just to stop the discomfort. And every time you comply, the cycle repeats. But here's the truth. You are not responsible for someone else's manipulation of their own emotions. Feeling bad does not mean you've done bad. Guilt is only healthy when it comes from conscience, not coercion. Trick number 4, the power of silence. It's not what they say, it's what they don't. Silence, when used intentionally, is one of the most dominating psychological tactics in existence, because silence makes you uncomfortable. And in that discomfort, you start negotiating with yourself. You wonder, did I do something wrong? Are they mad? Should I say something first? And while you're spiraling, the manipulator is gaining ground without saying a word. Strategic silence is how people gain leverage. In arguments, it forces you to over-explain. In relationships, it creates fear of abandonment. In business, it puts pressure on you to fill the gap, often with concessions. And that's the key. Silence creates space. And in that space, your anxiety does the work for them. But not all silence is toxic. Sometimes it's calm, mature, respectful. What makes it manipulative is intent. when silence is used not to listen, but to punish or control. So how do you protect yourself? By recognizing the pattern, by seeing the pause not as a mystery, but a message. If someone constantly withholds communication to gain power, you're not in a relationship. You're in a game. Trick number 5, shifting the frame. Control isn't always loud. Sometimes it's subtle, strategic, invisible. Frame control is when someone changes the lens through which a situation is viewed, without you even noticing. They don't argue the facts. They redefine the meaning of the facts. Imagine this. You question them for disappearing for days. Instead of answering, they say, "Wow, so now I can't have space without being accused?" Suddenly, you're not the one asking for accountability. You're the one being controlling. That's frame shifting. It's how toxic people make your boundaries seem selfish. How manipulators twist their own failure into your overreaction. They bend the story just enough to cast themselves as the victim, and you as the aggressor. And here's the genius of it. If you accept their frame, you start doubting your own perception. You hesitate, you backtrack, you apologize for things you never did. Frame control isn't about logic. It's about emotional leverage. And once someone controls the frame, they don't need to control you. You'll do it to yourself. Conclusion: use or be used. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. These psychological tricks, they work because they bypass logic and speak directly to fear, insecurity, love, and pride. And that makes them dangerous. But knowledge is power. If you can recognize the tricks, they lose their grip. If you can name the game, you don't have to play it. Most people walk through life being subtly controlled, not by force, but by fear of rejection, guilt, illusion, and the need to belong. But you don't have to be most people. Because once you understand the tools of manipulation, you can reverse them. You can spot the mirror and realize it's not a reflection, it's a mask. You can feel scarcity and ask, is this real or just manufactured panic? You can meet silence, not with fear, but with strength. You can carry your truth without the need to reshape it inside someone else's frame. This isn't about becoming a manipulator. It's about becoming immune to manipulation. Control isn't always about domination. Sometimes it's simply about awareness, knowing when you're being moved, and deciding not to move. So the next time someone makes you question yourself, pause. The moment you feel rushed, cornered, or guilty, pause. Ask yourself, is this conversation built on truth or on pressure? And remember, dark psychology only works in the dark. But once you shine a light on it, its power disappears, because no one can control a mind that knows how control works.